Hi guys, welcome to Amy Learns to Cook. On the show today, we're going south. We are going to make some southern style ham, green beans, and new potatoes. This is one of the most absolutely fabulous southern dishes, and you will love it. So join me as we make southern style ham, green beans, and new potatoes. So we're going to start out and do a little prep. So what I have here is I have some red potatoes, I have some garlic, of course, some onion, we have some celery, we have some fresh green beans, we also have some bacon in the refrigerator. We're going to cut that last. We're going to prep the vegetables and then do the raw meat on the board so I don't have an extra cutting board. So the very first thing is let's cut some celery. And this may not totally be like a traditional thing to put in there, but I don't know, I just naturally want celery in everything. So onions and celery sort of go together to me. So one thing about this dish is it sort of goes against all conventional green bean wisdom, because I know I always tell you guys to cook things where they're crisp tender. So they're tender, but when you bite into them, they have some give. Otherwise, a lot of times we think of them as just being overcooked. But this recipe is a lot different. It's a different style of green beans. We're gonna cook these until the green beans are really soft. And you're gonna say, you know, traditionally it's overcooked. But that's what this dish is. And, you know, a lot of people have attitudes about that. But you know, it's just a different style. And if we only cooked in one style all the time, life would be pretty boring, huh? So we're lucky that we have a lot of different ways to cook things, and they're all equally good. And next up, we're gonna chop a little onion, and pretty much, if you have a large onion, I have 2 onions here just because these are kind of medium size. So I wanted maybe like 1.5 of these. But if you have one large onion, that's probably the best. So real quick, let's get a dice on this. I'm gonna go with garlic because I like a lot of garlic. You can put as much as you want, but I think we're going for it here. I think I'm going to put like 6 cloves. What's great about this recipe, you know, as soon as you make it, this recipe is yours. And you can make this however you want it. Some people put little variations on it. This is just how I make it, but I like it every which way it can be made. So go for it, right? So you want to peel your garlic. You don't want to actually smash it, because what we want to do is just slice it. And just be careful, don't cut yourself with your knife. And you pretty much want a pound of green beans that are washed and trimmed. So go ahead and trim them off and then wash them and weigh them. I mean, you don't need exactly 1 pound, but you want kind of pretty close. This bag is 32 ounces, so we won't be using the whole thing. And even though they say they're trimmed, when they trimmed them, the ends are a little rough because I don't know how long they trimmed them. So the trims are a little dry, so I'm gonna go ahead and trim them again. So next up we have some red potatoes, and we're going to use 6 to 8 red potatoes depending on just your individual preference or how big your potatoes are. And whoops, get that off there. We're going to do a quick little peel action on these. So we got the potatoes all peeled. You don't have to peel them, it's just my personal preference. So we're gonna chunk these fairly decent sized chunks. You don't want little bitty chunks. I'm gonna cut these in like 4. You just want kind of bite size. And I'm gonna put them in some water here. It's gonna keep them from browning because it's gonna take us a minute to get the pot going, and the potatoes are gonna go a little bit after the broth develops. So we're just gonna keep these in some water. So we have 2 things that we're gonna be used to flavor these green beans. What we have here is we basically have a ham bone, and this just came from the store. It is cured, but what we want is we want some nice smoky meat to put in there. And when we opened it up, it really wasn't smoky enough for me. So what Eric did is we fired up the barbecue and we threw that baby on there with a whole bunch of smoke running through it for about 15 minutes. And let me tell you, it is now smoky. So if you can get a nice smoky piece of pork to put in here, otherwise go ahead and throw it on your grill. And we had it on low heat, but we had the smoke really going on that baby. And it is nice and smoky. I can smell it from here. We're also, because of course that's not enough, we're going to use a little bit of bacon. And this bacon sort of is like ends and pieces because it was some stuff that I had left over. So this is about 1/2 pound of bacon. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to just cut this into some bacon bits because we're going to cook this off at first. And this is the first thing that's going to go in the pot. And we're going to crisp this up a little bit. So what we have here is a large enameled Dutch oven. You can use this in any kind of Dutch oven. You can even do this in a slow cooker. Eric commented when I dragged this baby out that I was cheating on my Le Creuset. I love pans no matter what it is, and Lodges are absolutely fabulous. And I don't have a Le Creuset pan that's as large as this. So I do have Dutch ovens from them, but I don't have one this large. So we have this kind of on medium heat, and we're going to go ahead and put in our bacon. And we're going to cook this up, not totally where it's crisp, but we're, you know, we want to get a little browning on it and get rid of that flabby rawness. And we're going to go ahead and put our onion in. So we're going to put our celery in. Okay, so we're going to put our garlic in, and this is just sliced garlic, and we're just going to cook this maybe 1 minute. You don't want to put the garlic in too soon because it will get bitter, and this just will help it flavor a little bit. So we're going to put in our smoky ham bone, and we're also going to dump in some low sodium chicken broth. This is about 3 cups. And we make this out of better than bouillon. And we're just going to have this in here, and we're going to let this ham bone flavor this broth for probably 15 minutes. We're just going to simmer it in here. Ultimately, the amount of broth we put in here, it really is going to depend on your pan and how much liquid you want. We want enough broth basically to reach where the green beans come. So we're going to simmer this off a little bit to flavor this up for about 15 minutes. We're going to throw the green beans in here, and we're going to let them go for a while. And then we'll put the potatoes in a little later because you don't want to overcook the potatoes. So let me let this simmer here for a little while and let this flavor up this broth, and then we will continue with the recipe. And I'm just going to go ahead and put a lid on it. So we've been simmering about 15 minutes, and the ham bone is flavoring our broth here really nicely. I'm going to put in a little bit more seasoning. I'm going to put in a little bit of granulated garlic. That's a couple teaspoons. I'm going to put about 1.5 teaspoons of French thyme. I'm going to put in a couple bay leaves. And we're going to put some black pepper. I'm not going to salt it at this point because our chicken broth has salt and I don't want to over salt it, so we're going to salt it at the end. So we're going to go ahead and put our green beans in. And we're going to keep the water level just where the green beans are, and this looks pretty good. I'm going to keep my ham in here. We're probably going to have to either add a little bit of water or some more chicken broth when we put the potatoes in, because that's going to, you know, use up some of this liquid. So we got this in here, and we're going to go ahead and just let this cook. Actually, for giggles, let me put a pinch of cayenne in here. Give my boo a little bit of heat action here.
No.
Just because I'm like that. You don't have to put that in there. But I just thought I would do it for giggles. So we're just going to let this simmer maybe 45 minutes or so. When those beans start softening up, they're going to get really soft. We're going to put the potatoes in at that point and probably cook it for another half hour, 45 minutes to soften the potatoes. I don't want to put the potatoes in right now, like I said, because last time I overcooked them that way a little bit. They broke up a little bit more than I like them. So we're going to reserve those and put them in a little later. Okay, so we've had it cooking about an hour with the green beans. We're going to go ahead now and we're going to put in our potatoes. Now we're talking. Got quite a few potatoes here. My potatoes are kind of big, so you can adjust that based on your individual desire. And you want to adjust your liquid here, possibly a little bit. You might put in just a little bit more chicken broth. This broth, you don't want to overdo the broth because you're not making soup. We're going to have to cook out any excess liquid when it's done by raising the heat. But we do want a broth in here that we are going to mop up with our cornbread. So we do want a broth, but if you have excess, when we get towards the end, we can take the lid off and cook it down. So we're going to put the lid back on. We're going to cook it until all this is tender. Maybe another 30-45 minutes. We'll check it again. Okay, so this has been cooking. Everything is absolutely tender, and I'm going to tell you, it smells fantastic in here. Eric is just chopping at the bit. It really helped to make that ham bone a little more smoky. It is just lending tons of smoky flavor to this, and I just can't wait to take a bite of this. So we have quite a bit of liquid in here. You can cook this down, turn up the heat and cook this down. As soon as I said I wanted to turn up the heat and cook it down, Eric said, no way, I want that liquid. So we're gonna leave it in here because Eric's gonna, I don't know what he's gonna do, make some, he said he's gonna make some rice and put it on there. This is our ham bone. You can go ahead and skin that of all the meat. Skin that of all the meat, okay. But take the meat off of that. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna serve us up a little bit. So we got taters, we got green beans, look at that. Oh my gosh. That is bacon. I mean, come on. That right there, that's just love in a pot, right? You can make this for Thanksgiving. You can make this for any day of the week, right? I'm gonna take this for lunch. I think Eric's gonna have his old self in this pot before we're even done with this video. So let's go ahead and take a taste. So you can adjust the seasoning as you want. You can put additional salt. We didn't really need to because there was bacon and the ham and the chicken broth. We didn't really need to. Now, all I got to say is this. This smells fantastic. This right here is like the ultimate comfort food. I'm just sitting here like, I want to dive head first into this pot and not come out. Wow. When I could say that this is delicious, that doesn't even begin to describe how this tastes. This is a lot different than what you're used to when you have crisp green beans. The green beans are really soft. They're really tender. They've taken up all the flavor of all that smoky pork. Wow. I mean, this pot of green beans is absolutely fantastic. And when I say it's fantastic, I mean, this is, some things I say that there's food that you dream about at night. This is food you dream about at night. You will never get this at a restaurant. You will only get this making it at home. And once you make this, you will be a cook for the rest of your life. It's that good. If you like this recipe, please subscribe below and give me a comment and a like, and visit my website at amylearnstocook.com. I'm also on Twitter and Pinterest at Amy Learns to Cook. Get out of my beans!
Bye-bye, Piggy.